Shocking! ESPN just confirmed what the tennis world has been watching all week. Alex Eala is Cincinnati's biggest crowd magnet, and Filipino fans have officially taken over the entire tournament. A 21-year-old from the Philippines hasn't just brought her tennis to Ohio. She's brought an entire nation with her. Nobody expected it to end like this. College reunions planned around her matches. 8-hour drives from Toronto. Packed stadiums where Philippine flags outnumber American ones. Even world number 10 Amanda Anisimova admits she's never seen anything like it. The Eala effect has officially taken over Cincinnati, and the tennis world is absolutely stunned. The world's biggest sports network had been watching Alex Eala's remarkable run all summer. And when the Cincinnati Open rolled around, ESPN finally put it in black and white. Alex Eala is the tournament's biggest crowd magnet, and her Filipino fan army has officially taken over. This wasn't just speculation. This was ESPN confirming what everyone had been witnessing for weeks. Eala had arrived in Cincinnati as the No. 17 seed, the highest seeding of her career at a WTA 1000 event. Her North American hardcourt record stood at an impressive 8-1 heading into the tournament, including her breakthrough WTA title at the DC Open and a round of 16 appearance at the National Bank Open in Toronto. But the story wasn't just about her results, it was about the phenomenon surrounding her. ESPN reported on Eala's dominant second-round performance against Elena Gabriela Ruse, where the Filipino won 71% of the points played on Ruse's first serve and an even more impressive 78% against second serves. The 6-1, 3-0 victory, which ended with Ruse retiring due to a right foot injury, was Eala's 8th win in 9 matches. However, what made ESPN's coverage truly significant was what they focused on beyond the scoreline. The network highlighted Eala's growing popularity as a global tennis phenomenon. ESPN noted that the importance of Eala goes beyond the court and into how well she can succeed in getting young Filipinos involved in tennis. The network also reported on the atmosphere surrounding her matches, with the Cincinnati Open being not going to sell itself out the way the Canadian Open did, because they already had, in terms of when Alexandra Eala will play. The confirmation from ESPN was the ultimate validation. The same network that covers the biggest events in sports had recognized that Alex Eala wasn't just a rising tennis star, she was a movement. A movement that had turned a $7.4 million tournament in Ohio into a celebration of Filipino pride. This is a crazy experience, Eala had said in a press conference. There are moments when it's heavy, there are moments when it's fun. At the end of the day, I am also aware that it's a crazy experience. I'm just trying to take it all in. And ESPN was there to document every moment of it. The stories from Cincinnati revealed something remarkable about the Eala effect. They weren't just about ticket sales or packed stadiums. They were about the lengths that Filipino fans were willing to go to support their hero. And these stories left even seasoned tennis observers absolutely stunned. Sports reporter Colin Salau shared 2 stories that perfectly captured the devotion of Eala's fans. The first was a group of college friends who planned their entire reunion around a trip to Cincinnati to watch Alex Eala play. These friends, now based in different parts of the United States, coordinated their schedules and travel plans around one thing: watching the 21-year-old Filipina compete. One group planned their college reunion around a trip to see Alex Eala. They're based all around the U.S. Salau tweeted after speaking with Filipino fans in Cincinnati. Think about what that means. A group of friends, now scattered across the country, didn't plan a reunion around a beach, a city, or a vacation spot. They planned it around a tennis match, around Alex Eala, around the chance to see their hero in person, on the biggest stage of her career. The second story was even more astonishing. One fan watched Eala in Toronto at the National Bank Open, then drove 8 hours to see her again in Cincinnati. Not a flight, an 8-hour drive. Because watching Eala plays was worth every mile. Another supporter followed Eala at the National Bank Open in Toronto before making an 8-hour drive to Cincinnati for another chance to see the Filipina star in action, Fast Brick reported. These weren't casual fans who happened to be in the area. These were people who had made Alex Eala a priority. The tickets for these tournaments are not cheap. The package that started at $275 was now listed at $470 in Cincinnati. a staggering 70% increase, and yet fans kept buying. They were willing to pay hundreds of dollars, travel hundreds of miles, and rearrange their lives just for the chance to watch their hero play. The dedication of Eala's fan army goes beyond just showing up. During the Canadian Open in Toronto, one fan captured Eala's attention in a way that went viral. He was wearing an inflatable blue dinosaur costume with a Filipino flag draped over him like a cape. He danced in the stands, put his leg up on the railing, and shook it with pure unbridled enthusiasm. Eala noticed, and she loved it. "I had the perfect fan last week," Eala said in a video posted by the Cincinnati Open's social media account. He was wearing an inflatable blue dinosaur kind of suit, and he had a Filipino flag caped over him. He was dancing in the stands, he put his leg up on the railing, he was shaking it. "You were a perfect fan." The dinosaur fan had already caught Eala's attention during the Canadian Open, where she previously called the person a legend for the enthusiastic support. Now, in Cincinnati, she was still talking about him, because the creativity, the passion, the sheer joy of his support was something she would never forget. And the creativity didn't stop with dinosaur costumes. Filipino fans have even coined their own vocabulary for Eala's tennis. During an episode of Love All with Kim Clijsters, the four-time Grand Slam champion and tennis reporter Blair Henley discussed one of Eala's fans' playful inventions, the now internationally heard Fuclia serve. The colloquial term, coined by Eala's Filipino supporters, pokes fun at the 21-year-old Filipina's service motion, which, for so long, was one of the most criticized aspects of her game. Eala herself has learned to laugh along with it. Apparently, Alex Eala's fans call her serve a Fuclia serve, and it's a slang. It sort of represents the fact that it's unconventional looking, but it gets the job done, Henley explained. As her popularity has soared, so has the entertainment value surrounding her matches. With the tour often playing out in the wee hours of Philippine time, Filipino fans have found plenty of ways to keep themselves awake, including inventing their own language for Eala's tennis. Pinoy humor, now reaching the WTA ranks. The fan army's presence has been noticed by even the biggest names in the sport. Renee Stubbs, the former doubles world #1 and coach of Serena Williams, discussed the unique atmosphere surrounding Eala's matches during the Canadian Open. She noted that Eala's supporters have attracted attention throughout the North American hardcourt swing. The commentators were saying that they don't really understand the sport of tennis yet, because they are so new to it, because of the phenomenon of Alex Eala, Stubbs said on her podcast. So they are screaming at times when it's in the middle of the point, and they are getting very excited. Stubbs noted that similar situations have happened before when tennis entered new markets and attracted large groups of new fans. She compared it to China, where fans initially didn't understand tennis etiquette either. But rather than criticizing the crowds, Stubbs stressed that she enjoys seeing the excitement Eala generates whenever she steps on court. "I am all for the excitement. There is nothing more exciting than what we are getting every time she walks on the court," she said. She also revealed a remarkable moment from the Toronto tournament. Katie McNally said to her after the match, "Thank you for letting me be a part of this," Stubbs revealed. Think about that. An American player who had just lost to Eala in front of a crowd that was overwhelmingly against her thanked the Filipina for letting her be a part of the experience. That's the power of the Eala effect. It's not just about filling stadiums. It's about creating an atmosphere that even opponents find unforgettable. Stubbs believes the atmosphere around Eala is something many players rarely experience. So even the tennis players that have been out here a long time are realizing that this is an atmosphere that you probably have never played in front of ever, except maybe Serena in New York the last time she played there, Stubbs said. That is what you are getting every time you play Alex Eala, so you have to be mentally prepared to deal with that. The Australian finished by making a prediction about Eala's future influence on tennis. Alex Eala is going to bring so many young kids to the sport of tennis, and that is only going to make this sport grow even more. The fan army that traveled thousands of miles, planned college reunions, drove 8 hours, and invented their own language for her tennis had done something remarkable. They had shown the tennis world that Alex Eala wasn't just a player. She was a movement, a symbol of what happens when a community finds its voice and refuses to be ignored. And as Eala prepared to face world number 10 Amanda Anisimova, she knew the fan army would be right behind her. The dinosaur fan would be cheering. The college reunion crew would be waving their flags. And the 8-hour drive fan would be right there in Cincinnati, proving that watching Alex Eala play was worth every single mile. The moment Amanda Anisimova stepped onto the court at the Lindner Family Tennis Center, she knew exactly what she was walking into. The American star, ranked no. 10 in the world and seeded 9th in the $7.4 million Cincinnati Open, had been watching the Eala effect unfold from a distance, and she had a pretty good idea of what awaited her. I haven't played her before. She's been having such an incredible season, incredible year, and very great player with a lot of fans, so I'm really looking forward to that, Anisimova said in an interview posted by the WTA. The 24-year-old American, a 2-time Grand Slam finalist who reached the finals of both Wimbledon and the US Open in 2025, had already experienced the atmosphere that follows Eala wherever she goes. She had seen the viral videos, she had heard the stories. She knew that on Monday night, the stadium would be packed, not with American fans cheering for the home favorite, but with thousands of Filipino supporters waving flags and chanting the name of their hero. She has a great fan base, and it looks like an incredible atmosphere every time she steps out to play a match. I'm really looking forward to it, Anisimova said in the post-game show. The American star even referenced the description that Naomi Osaka, the 4-time Grand Slam champion, had famously used to characterize Eala's matches. More like a basketball game than a tennis match. It was a telling comparison, one that captured the sheer energy, noise, and passion that the Filipino community brings to the sport. I love a packed stadium and I love a good atmosphere. I'm sure it will be a great match, even though they will probably going to be rooting more for her end. But I don't mind it, and I'll try to thrive off of the energy, Anisimova declared. The American's confidence was understandable. She had reached the finals of both Wimbledon and the US Open in 2025. She had won 2 WTA 1000 titles in 2025 at the Qatar Open and China Open. She had been a teen prodigy herself, winning the 2017 US Open girls singles title by sweeping Coco Gauff in the finals. At just 17 years old, she dethroned Simona Halep to reach the semifinals of the 2019 French Open. On paper, the matchup favored the experienced American. But Anisimova also knew that Eala had something that couldn't be quantified by rankings or titles. The Filipina had already beaten 7 top 10 players this season, a list that included Iga Swiatek twice, Elena Rybakina, Coco Gauff, and Jessica Pegula. She had just completed a revenge tour in Washington, where she systematically dismantled every player who had previously defeated her. And she had a legion of fans who would turn the Lindner Family Tennis Center into a sea of Philippine flags. I know that it's probably going to be a very packed stadium. I'm sure it will be really fun, Anisimova said. What's more, this wasn't the first time Anisimova had expressed admiration for Eala and her fan base. In February, when Anisimova saw Eala play at the Dubai Tennis Championships, she had similar enthusiastic praise to offer. I love that she has such an incredible fan base. I think she's also such a good representation of her country. I mean, she's so young, and she carries herself so well. It's so good to see, Anisimova said at the time. The American even admitted staying courtside to see Eala's match just for the atmosphere, even though she didn't need to. The atmosphere that Anisimova was already anticipating, even before she stepped onto the court, was the same atmosphere that had stunned Toronto organizers, forced Washington to rearrange its scheduling, and prompted Cincinnati to double ticket prices. It was the atmosphere that Renee Stubbs, the former doubles world one and coach of Serena Williams, had described as something players had probably never played in front of ever, except maybe Serena in New York. That is what you are getting every time you play Alex Eala, so you have to be mentally prepared to deal with that, Stubbs warned. And it was about to get even louder. Anisimova was ready to face the crowd, a crowd that had turned the Lindner Family Tennis Center into Barangay Eala. So what exactly is the Eala effect? And why has it taken the tennis world by storm in ways that no one could have predicted? The phenomenon is rooted in something far deeper than just tennis. ESPN, the world's biggest sports network, has been documenting Eala's rise all season. In a March 2026 feature, ESPN described how Eala has become one of the most popular players in the sport, drawing hordes of fans, many for the first time, to tennis tournaments around the world. The network noted that her surprise semifinal run at the Miami Open last year, including wins over Iga Swiatek and Madison Keys, put her on the map, and she has become a can't-miss fixture at events ever since. But the Eala effect is about more than just winning matches. Long lines had already formed outside of Stadium 36 hours before Eala's second-round match at Indian Wells earlier this year. Holding Filipino flags and wearing shirts that read Alexandra Eala Fan Club, hundreds of enthusiastic fans looked desperate to make their way inside. Even when delays pushed the match until late in the chilly desert evening, making it the latest starting match of the day, many of Eala's devoted fans remained in the stands, covered in winter coats and blankets, to cheer her on. It means the world to have this community behind me in such a prestigious tournament, Eala said after that match. For them to make the effort to stay up late and stay in the cold and cheer me on, so it really added to the feelings and the emotions after the match. The lore and the crowds grew and grew. Jessica Pegula had her first experience against Eala and an entire stadium in the semifinals. I played her when she kind of broke out last year in Miami. I'm from there. The whole crowd was against me, Pegula said. I was like, what on earth is going on? Where did these people come from? The Eala effect is now a documented phenomenon. ESPN has confirmed that Eala is Cincinnati's biggest crowd magnet. The network highlighted that the importance of Eala goes beyond the court and into how well she can succeed in getting young Filipinos involved in tennis. The fan army that turned Cincinnati into a home court had done something remarkable. They had shown the tennis world that Alex Eala wasn't just a player. She was a movement, a symbol of what happens when a community finds its voice and refuses to be ignored. And as Eala prepared to face World No. 10 Amanda Anisimova, the tennis world was watching to see what would happen next. And so we arrive at the question that the tennis world is asking itself as Alex Eala prepares to face world number 10 Amanda Anisimova at the Cincinnati Open. What does the Eala effect mean for the future of tennis? The answer is nothing short of revolutionary. Because what Alex Eala has created isn't just a fan base, it's a movement. A movement that has transformed quiet, polite tennis matches into celebrations of identity, culture, and pride. A movement that has turned a 21-year-old from the Philippines into the biggest draw in women's tennis. The signs are everywhere. Even before Eala stepped onto the court in Cincinnati, ESPN had already confirmed what everyone was witnessing. Alex Eala is the tournament's biggest crowd magnet, and her Filipino fan army has officially taken over. The network reported that the importance of Eala goes beyond the court and into how well she can succeed in getting young Filipinos involved in tennis. The Eala effect isn't just about filling stadiums. It's about building a legacy. As the Daily Tribune noted, the Eala effect represents a virtual homeland wherever Filipinos gather to watch her play. In Miami, New York, Melbourne, Dubai, London, and now Cincinnati, overseas Filipinos arrive with flags, signs, chants, families, and phones ready for photographs. The effect is rooted in Filipino diasporic identity, the sense of belonging formed by Filipinos who live abroad while sustaining emotional, familial, and cultural ties with the Philippines and with other Filipinos overseas. Eala gives this identity a young, female, and thoroughly global face. She carries the flag in her public language and symbolism. In Miami, after defeating Madison Keys, she told supporters, "Maraming salamat, mga kababayan." In Dubai, after another late match, she playfully said, "Salamat sa pagpuyat, mga kababayan. Uwi na tayo." At Wimbledon, her visor carried the Filipino message, "Kapag lumago, hindi nahihinto." Once it grows, it cannot be stopped. These gestures matter because recognition is reciprocal. Filipino spectators tell Eala, "You are not alone." By answering in Filipino, she tells them, "I see you." Many overseas workers spend their daily lives being identified by occupation, immigration status, or minority background. At her matches, they are publicly visible as Filipinos, not simply as workers in another country, but as a confident sporting community. The fan army that turned Cincinnati into a home court had done something remarkable. They had shown the tennis world that Alex Eala wasn't just a player. She was a movement, a symbol of what happens when a community finds its voice and refuses to be ignored. Even the game's biggest stars recognize the significance. Coco Gauff, the world know, 4 and reigning U.S. Open champion, welcomed Eala's impact on the women's tour. I like that Alex brings a whole new demographic to the WTA Tour, Gauff said. I think what she's doing for the sport of tennis is great. She's a great role model for people to look up to. Renee Stubbs, the former doubles world no. 1 and coach of Serena Williams, made a prediction about Eala's future influence on tennis. Alex Eala is going to bring so many young kids to the sport of tennis, and that is only going to make this sport grow even more. Stubbs also revealed a remarkable moment from the Toronto tournament. Katie McNally, an American player who had just lost to Eala in front of a crowd that was overwhelmingly against her, said to the Filipina after the match, "Thank you for letting me be a part of this." The atmosphere around Eala is something many players rarely experience. So even the tennis players that have been out here a long time are realizing that this is an atmosphere that you probably have never played in front of ever, except maybe Serena in New York the last time she played there. Stubbs said, "That is what you are getting every time you play Alex Eala, so you have to be mentally prepared to deal with that." Eala herself is learning to embrace the spotlight. There are moments where it's heavy. There are moments when it's fun. But at the end of the day, I am also aware that it's a crazy experience, so I'm just trying to take it all in, Eala said during her pre-tournament press conference. "I know also that I wouldn't be having these experiences if I didn't do all the work that I did beforehand. I know that I won't continue to experience it if I don't continue that work." The Eala effect isn't just about filling stadiums. It's about building a legacy that will inspire the next generation of Filipino athletes. A legacy that will remind the world that tennis belongs to everyone. The Cincinnati fan army was just the latest chapter in a story that is only beginning. The U.S. Open will be the next. And after that, the Singapore Open, the Asian Games, and everything else that comes after. The tennis world is stunned. The Filipinos are roaring. And Alex Eala is just getting started. So the question remains, is the tennis establishment ready for the Eala effect? Or will they be left behind? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Eala effect and what it means for the future of tennis, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more sports drama and controversy. Drop a comment below. Is the tennis world ready for the Eala effect? Have you ever seen anything like the Filipino fan army in Cincinnati? Let us know.